called the Book of Mark. I guess it's one of the Gospels. And I'm reading Mark 7. And in verse 18, Jesus says to his followers, "Don't you understand?" Jesus asked. "Don't you see? Nothing that enters people from the outside can make them unclean. It doesn't go into the heart. It goes into the stomach." And this is a justification for not having to wash your hands before you eat your food, and not having to follow the dietary laws, because what comes into your mouth goes only to your stomach, doesn't affect the heart. Okay. What does the Torah actually say? The Torah says as follows. This is in Leviticus chapter 11, verse 43. It says, "You shall not make abominable your souls by eating all of these crawling creatures, so that you will not become impure, made impure through them. For if you shall eat them, you shall become impure through them." Another reading is, "So that you shall not become impure through them, and if you will eat them, then your hearts will become stuffed up through them." Clearly, however, it says that you will become impure by eating what is called sheket, something abominable. What are the things that are abominable? So let me read you a couple of lines. It says, if an animal shall die, in other words, it hasn't been slaughtered properly, which is an animal that you could normally eat, but whoever touches the carcass shall become impure till evening time. Somebody eats from the carcass, not only does he have to immerse himself after the evening, but he has to also immerse his clothing. Somebody who carries the carcass also has to do the same thing. Then it says as follows, if a crawling animal shall in its death fall upon seed or food, the water has washed it, and the carcass of the animal shall fall upon it, the food will become impure to you. The food is not allowed to you if you want to stay in a state of ritual purity. Again, it says here, to these animals that are not kosher, you will become impure. Whoever touches their carcass will also become impure. Whoever carries their carcasses shall have to wash his clothing and become impure until the evening. All of the verses in Leviticus dealing with unkosher animals and birds and fish and insects and crawling creatures all has this word of being tameh, of making you impure. You not only become impure by ingesting, by eating, but also by carrying or by touching. And so here you have the classical case where the Torah says that if you touch something, you become impure. So what is the reason for washing the hands before we eat? The answer is to teach ourselves not to touch things that are impure, so that if we were to touch them and then eat them, we would become impure, and we would not be allowed to enter the temple, and we would be violating the sanctity of the temple. So that you become impure by your touching, you become impure by carrying, you become impure by eating. not just by what comes out of you, but what goes into you. Not only by what comes into you, but what you touch and come into contact with. So is Jesus telling the truth? The answer is no, he's not telling the truth. It's a lie. So where did this lie come from? I don't know. My guess is that this was an interpolation, a later amended addition from the church after Saul of Tarshish, also known by you as Paul, got rid of all of the ritual laws. One of the most difficult of the ritual laws was the laws of kashrut, and of course circumcision. Because the main impediment for millions of Romans who wanted to become Jewish and did not do so was the fact that they had a Mediterranean diet and they ate crustaceans. They ate seafood. They hunted. That means they didn't slaughter the animal first. They killed it through an arrow or a spear. And they raised pigs. And pigs are not kosher. So to get rid of this problem, remember, there are many people who are called those who fear the Lord. Yirei Hashem. In fact, it's mentioned in the Psalms. Yomana Yirei Hashem. Yomruna Yirei Hashem ki la'olam chasto. Psalm 118. Check it out. Who are the Yirei Hashem, those who fear the Lord, who are not part of Beis Yisrael or Beis Aharon? Who are those who fear the Lord that are not part of the Jewish people or part of the household of the Kohanim? The answer is those who wish to convert but couldn't get converted because they were afraid of circumcision. They couldn't take the diet, so they followed all the rest of the laws, but didn't follow those laws. And they are called the Yirei Hashem, those who fear the Lord, the righteous Gentiles of the Middle East of that time. Now these people numbered millions, and this was a ready-made group that Paul could convert if he got rid of the kosher laws. Conveniently, that's what he did. And this is probably why you have this chapter. Because the chapter is filled with lies. First of all, the elders that say that all Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands to make them pure is an absolute dishonest statement. You don't wash your hands to make them pure, to make yourself pure. You make your hands ritually pure rabbinically. But you don't make the hands pure at all. Purity depends upon whether you've come into contact with a carcass or whether you've had a pollution through some seminal discharge or whether you touch the dead. You don't get impure in your hands by your hands alone. If you're impure, the whole body's impure. Then you have to go to mikveh. It's a ritual in order that the person learn to be careful with where he goes, what he touches, what he eats. The next slide. That's what the elders teach. It's not only what the elders teach, it's what parents taught their children. When they come to the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. It's not true. Wherever they come from, if they haven't washed their hands, in other words, if they didn't wear gloves, and they were in different places, could be a cemetery, or they might have scratched part of their bodies where there's a lot of sweat, a lot of dirt, inappropriate places. You scratch your genitalia, that's considered inappropriate. So the hands were given a status of ritual impurity. Doesn't make a difference where you come from. For example, they wash cups, pitchers, and kettles in a